Japan's Prime Minister announced that he will not seek re-election, which means that a group of ambitious politicians are making a case for premiership. And although this will be the largest LDP presidential election in terms of candidates, I think we only have 4 real options. So in this video, we'll review the candidates interested in premiership and then dive into the promising candidates for Japan's ruling party. And this inter-party election is crucial because the winner will need to revive the ruling party's sinking reputation and be the new face of Japan. Because we still don't know the specific policy goals of each candidate, I'll generalize a few things and mainly focus on inter-party politics. But let's first review the basic rules of this entire process. Every 3 years, the Liberal Democratic Party has an election to vote in a new party president. Once there is a new president, LDP members in parliament vote in a new prime minister, who is the party president. Although Prime Minister Kishida initially showed interest in a rerun, his approval ratings are tanking, so he decided not to run. And now we have 12 potential candidates for a new prime minister. This is a record number because usually, the ruling party's political faction send out one candidate to represent their groups. However, earlier this year, most factions disbanded their organizations due to the fundraising money scandal. This is why there are 12 potential candidates. In order to qualify for the race, a candidate needs at least 20 recommendations from current lawmakers. This means that any politicians can show interest but may not qualify for the race. In other words, not everyone on this list will be able to run for office. You may want to watch this video for more information about how the LDP decides their president. Given that the race officially starts mid-September, the politicians I mentioned in this video may not even make this cut, so I will focus on candidates that I think have a real shot. Here are the names of the 12 candidates that already received 20 recommendations or have announced interest in this race. All these individuals are current or former ministers other than Aoyama. When we take a look at the factions, you can tell that some of the factions overlap. Out of the 12 candidates, I believe there are 7 candidates who have a shot, so let's review these 7 individuals. First of all, Toshimitsu Motegi, current Secretary General of the LDP. He also served as Minister of Foreign Affairs under former Prime Minister Abe, Suga, and Kishida. The Kishida administration was a combination of Asuo, Motegi, and the Kishida faction. As a former faction leader, Motegi has power and he is friends with Asuo. Given his experience and strong relation with Asuo, it was initially assumed that Motegi would have the upper hand. However, when Motegi approached Asuo for his support, Asuo declined to support his bid. Instead, Asuo announced that his faction will support Taro Kono. Taro Kono served in several ministerial roles, including Minister of Defense and Minister of Foreign Affairs. However, he is probably more well known as the Minister for Digital Transformation, Minister in charge of administration reform, and Minister in charge of promoting vaccinations. During COVID, he pushed for vaccine awareness. He pushed to digitalize the government and abolish the income system, which is a seal system for administrative work. He also looked over the My Number card system, which is a social security card that ties all personal information. He got his undergraduate degree at George Washington University, so his English is impeccable. While he got things done, not everyone was pleased with vaccinations and the My Number card situation. He's also known to block critics on X, so some call him Buroku Taro. Taro Kono has always been part of the system, as his father was a former president of the LDP and his grandfather was a key player in the LDP as well. Nonetheless, Kono was known to be a more liberal LDP politician, as he argued that Japan should rid itself of nuclear energy and that the imperial line should consider female heirs. However, he really toned down his liberal ideas in preparation for this upcoming election. Back in the 2021 presidential election, Kishida and Kono were the 2 candidates that made it to the second round. This was thanks to Kono making an alliance with Ishiba and Koizumi. This was called the Koishikawa Alliance, which combines the first character of each person's last name. Unlike Kono, Ishiba and Koizumi are popular among citizens. Although he never won a presidential election, he has always been popular among citizens. If Ishiba wins this election, this could change the LDP as Ishiba has been more of an outsider among his peers. This also means that not a lot of lawmakers like him, so I think he'll struggle hard. Shinjiro Koizumi is the other candidate who is extremely popular among citizens. He is the son of Junichiro Koizumi, former Prime Minister of Japan who has the highest approval rating in modern Japanese history. Shinjiro Koizumi served as the Minister of Environment under Suga. He's known for his rural salads and many hate or like this quality. He said that politicians need to make global warming sexy, and when asked what he meant, he replied that explaining it isn't sexy. He famously said, "Japan cannot remain as it is now. That is why Japan cannot remain as is." Because of his rural salads, many people call him the Minister of Poetry. Anyway, although Koizumi lacks experience, many within the party view him as a real option as Prime Minister. Former Prime Minister Suga supports this bid, and if Koizumi wins, the LDP may see a generational shift of politicians. This could help the party rebrand themselves and distance themselves from ongoing scandals. The other younger candidate who can change the LDP's image is Takayuki Kobayashi. Unlike Kono, Ishiba, and Koizumi, Kobayashi is from a regular working-class family. He is well educated as he graduated from the University of Tokyo and Harvard Kennedy School. As a younger politician, other young LDP politicians are supporting his bid. Unfortunately, this doesn't mean that he's well known among the public. Out of the 7 candidates we're covering, he is the least known. As for his political stance, he is conservative and has a worldview similar to former Prime Minister Abe. Therefore, he also attracts conservatives within the party. Another conservative candidate is Sanae Takaichi, current minister in charge of economic security. She lost in the previous 2021 election, but she has a real shot because she is not only an Abe conservative, but also a woman. A woman candidate that aligns with conservative values would be a great rebranding of the LDP. The other woman candidate is Yoko Kamikawa, current Minister of Foreign Affairs. She served as the Minister of Justice under Abe and Suga and has been in politics since 2000. As another woman candidate, Kamikawa is seen as a candidate that can change the LDP's public image. Now that we covered the 7 potential candidates, let's dive a bit deeper and predict what could happen. The 2 key players in this election will be Asuo and Suga. As LDP veterans, they have influence and want to maintain such influence. It's clear that Suga is going all in with Koizumi. This will give Koizumi a clear advantage as he's young and he's an outside force similar to Suga, who was the first non-faction LDP politician to become Prime Minister. However, Koizumi's lack of experience will be his greatest hurdle. Asuo, who didn't support Kono in 2021, will support Kono for this election. The worst case scenario for Asuo would be a Koizumi and Ishiba finalist, as Ishiba is pretty much his own thing in the LDP, and Koizumi is under Suga's influence. Kono is experienced and has a track record of change, but he is still actively part of a faction. All the other candidates are technically not part of their factions, so Kono may be seen as a vestige of LDP factionalism. The 2024 presidential election will not be a simple Koizumi versus Kono battle. Ishiba is extremely popular with citizens and has strong rural support, so he can make it to the second round if other candidates split the lawmaker vote. Kobayashi is seen as Abe's successor, but the conservative vote may split between Kobayashi and Takaichi. As a matter of fact, in the 2021 presidential election, Kobayashi supported Takaichi's bid. In addition, Takaichi and Kawakami may split LDP lawmakers who want to see a female prime minister. Kawakami may also split the vote of the former Kishida faction between current Chief Cabinet Secretary Hayashi, who is also from the Kishida faction. With all this said, I think it will come down to the candidate debate and policy proposal each candidate brings to the table. If I were to slim down the 7 candidates, I think Kono, Koizumi, Ishiba, and Takaichi are the 4 candidates with a good shot of entering the second round of vote. While Kobayashi will garner support, I think Takaichi's conservatism, experience, and the fact that she is a woman candidate will make her more viable. The second round may end as a liberal versus conservative candidate. And if I were to make a prediction, I think the candidates will boil down to Koizumi and Takaichi, and if this happens, I think Takaichi will win. I think Kono has a good shot, but he's a vestige of factionalism and somewhat of a hidden liberal, so I'm not sure if his party members will support him. If it ends up as a Koizumi versus Kono election though, I think Kono will win. So you should like, comment, and subscribe to see whether I make a mistake or whether this video ages like fine wine. At the end of the day, the LDP wants to rebrand themselves as a renewed party, and the best way to do this is to elect a young candidate, woman candidate, or a quote-unquote liberal candidate. There will be various topics to discuss such as foreign policy, defense, constitutional reform, and the economy, but another big topic may be the slush fund scandal. During his press conference, Kono argued that the politicians who haven't paid their share should do so, while others are trying to sweep the issue under the carpet. So check out this video to learn more about the LDP's fundraising money scandal.